Tom and I have been talking about doing a show about detectives. This is that show.
We're going to talk about on-screen detectives. We're going to talk about TV. We're going to talk about movies. We're going to talk about our favorites, maybe some of those that aren't so favorite. But I do dig a good detective show.
Yeah, they're hard to resist. I mean, whether it be procedural or I guess they're mostly procedural, but it's just like a great detective with a great line. It's like I've been watching CSI again. I'm into season 6. So I don't know. I'll be interested. Are you Do you like the ones that have the line? It's like after they see, a dead person and they got some smart ass line, which was back to like the Bruce Willis movies and stuff like that. Because CSI now is at that point where they have like the 30-second opener and Gil has some smart ass line like right
Really?
before the dun dun. Yeah. He's not even a detective. He's a crime scene specialist, but
Yeah, but
it's
for our purposes, he's a detective, right?
yeah.
So that's my thing. I like a good detective show, but I don't particularly like procedurals.
Okay.
So I don't like the CSIs or the SUVs or no SPUs. I'm okay with SUVs.
If they got, it's got good pickup. Can turn
It's
corners well, like an SUV.
I find it hard to get around in an SVU. But that's when we were growing up, there were tons of detective shows on
Yeah.
TV, but they were all, mystery of the week kind of things. And for the most part, I didn't watch them. And, obviously the current version of that is SVU or CSI, and there's a million other ones that are like that. I tend to like the ones nowadays that have like an overarching story it's more episodic, so like the show that we were received both of our votes for best TV of 2025 is The Lowdown, and I think that's a detective show. But
Yep.
it's like watching a novel, right? It's chapters as opposed to each show is its own. What do they call those bottle episodes, where each show is its own thing?
Yeah. I mean, I can appreciate that. I don't know that I always watch enough TV to have the patience, because
Right.
sometimes you just want it to be wrapped up. But like Bosch and the spinoff Ballard, those are great. And they remind me, I'm going to forget the name of it. It was, I think it only had 2 seasons, and it was about creation, the first sort of the psychologist to evaluate and profile. It was that same thing where it's like one long ass movie. I mean, it's two, and they were long episodes too. It was good. It just oh shit, it's gonna drive me crazy. My first post facto
First one ever? I don't think so.
ever. I never make a mistake. Damn it.
Well, when we were kids, it was Beretta, it was
Yep.
Columbo, Macmillan and
Kojak.
Wife, Kojak was one. Yeah, and they were like, they were mystery of the week things. And it was all just based on the personality of the lead, right? Kojak was all about just, that detective, that police detective and his lollipop. And, Columbo was the one who always solved it right at the last second. And, his thing was always, oh, I have
Yeah.
just one last thing I wanted to ask you, and Beretta was the tough guy. Apparently, turns out a lot, kind of a tough, crazy maniac guy, but he didn't play that on the show. But they were all really just what's going to happen to him this week. And really, when I look back on all of those shows, and I watched, my parents liked a few of those shows, so I would watch them with them when I was a little kid back in the 70s. But the only one that I really loved was Rockford Files.
Hmm.
And that was James Garner as Jim Rockford. And again, it was all based upon the personality of the lead. They didn't have overarching storylines that I remember anyway. But I just liked his character so much. He was almost an anti-hero. And for whatever reason, that was the detective show back in the 70s that I just always liked to watch. And didn't really watch those other ones very much, other than just, whatever my parents decided was going to be on TV.
And that was always, I don't remember what they called it, but it was, I think it was on Sunday night, and you didn't know what show you were going to get. They'd play, or maybe they rotated in some way, but they weren't on every week. Like
Yeah.
Kojak might have been but I feel like Columbo and McMillan and Wife, and probably not Rockford Files because I think, but maybe that was a way for them to see if the show would catch. But I don't know, I remember that watching on that Sunday night with my mom and dad. And if it was one that I didn't like I didn't really like McMillan and Wife all that much, but I did like Columbo, so I'd stay for that one. But my favorite, I loved Kojak. I think it's because my dad liked Kojak.
Yeah, so I think it had a couple different names, but there was one that was called the NBC Mystery Movie, and that's exactly what it did. Like you said, it would be McMillan and Wife one week, and then I can't remember. There was one where it was a Southerner who came up north, but there was also the Wide World of Mystery. I think that was on ABC, but it was all the same thing. Like you said, they would just kind of alternate those, and it must have been pretty popular TV because that lasted for decades. I remember they would do that stuff.
And by the way, the episodic one that I couldn't remember was Mindhunter.
So I remember that title. That was that 90s, maybe, I think.
I think it was later than that, but I could
Was
be
it?
wrong. But it dove into the origins of the FBI criminal psychology team.
All right.
And they dealt with some pretty fucked up people. I mean, serial killers and stuff like that. So
So it's kind of sprung from the whole Silence of the Lambs thing that
yeah.
when that movie came out, I think a lot of TV sprang from that concept. Oh,
And
the 70s guy that I was trying to think of was McCloud. That was the guy who wore a cowboy hat. He
oh
came
yeah,
from
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
South or the
That's
West
right.
or
Yeah.
something. And they had so many of those shows. But
Oh yeah,
the
McLeod. Sorry, I forgot him. He was Dennis, somebody was his name. Yeah, Dennis Weaver. Yeah.
Dennis Weaver, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and I watched that one a little bit too. Like again, all of it, those shows for me, they all just depended on the personality of the lead because the mysteries were all exactly the same, you know. And in fact, it always felt like the bad guys were also the same. Like they just kept recycling them on different shows, you know.
Well, that's the thing about CSI, for example. When you're watching, about 90% of the time, the best known character actor is the person who did it. Because
Right, right. Yeah, I know. Dawn, my wife Dawn loves SVU. So it's on constantly in our house. And it's funny because they'll replay shows. So you'll see really famous actors who were, 20 or something
right.
when they were first on SVU. But you're right. If they look like if it's an older actor and you know them, they probably did it.
Yeah. Every once in a while they'll throw a curveball at you and they'll be, the decoy. But otherwise, like I said, 90% of the time it's that person. So
And then the big late 80s detective show that I know you watched because we all watched it was Crockett and Tubbs in
oh
Miami
yeah,
Vice.
yeah.
And that was not so much a TV show as just a weekly music video, but
Yeah.
that
Weekly
that show
music
had a
video and style show. Like
right, exactly. I was going to say it definitely affected what we wore to at least two or three formals while we were in college.
the white t-shirt underneath the pastel jacket,
Exactly. Sleeves pushed up. Got to wear sleeves pushed
sleeves
up.
pushed up,
Shoes with no socks.
a little bit of growth, not too much though.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and then after that, like after I left college, I don't remember really watching any detective shows until probably the 2010s. And I don't know if it's because I changed or there's better TV. I tend to think it's better TV. We've talked in the past about Veronica Mars. I never even watched that show when it was on.
Nope.
And that show came out. When did that show come out? In 2004. So up until I think mid 2000s, I still wasn't watching mystery shows. I discovered Veronica Mars long after the fact, and then watched it. Thought it was really good. The detective show that I can remember getting hooked on after that long gap was the show Justified, which
Oh
was the
yes. Yep.
one the main character was Raylan Givens, and that show I thought was awesome. It had the lead actor was fantastic. What the hell's his name?
Timothy Oliphant.
Oliphant. He's a great actor in general. That one was also kind of a Western, and it was based on the books of Elmore Leonard, who is a fucking
Yes.
great writer. He is such a
Yeah.
great genre writer. So he wrote, I think, a handful of books about that character, Raylan Givens in particular. But just, he's had a bunch of books that were made into movies and others that were converted to TV shows. It just goes to show you that it really does. The source material makes a huge difference when it comes to any kind of entertainment on TV or movies, as far as that's concerned.
Well, and what differentiated Justified and other shows like it was that we didn't have just black and white, good and bad. Because
Yes.
Raylan was a complicated character. Walter Goggins' character, Boyd Crowder, was a bad dude, but he was more than just a bad dude. I mean, it was, the all the history, the relationships that they had. I like that a lot more when you have complicated characters that make it a little more, I don't know, just makes it a little more real. The life isn't as black and white as a lot of those other shows would want you to believe.
And that is exactly, I think, why I liked Justified as opposed to Special Victims Unit
Right.
or NCIS because of that. Again, I think it has to do with creating shows that get you don't get the problem and the solution all in one episode. You have to watch them over a period of time. And that was definitely, even though there were individual issues that he dealt with, there was a long overarching story for a whole season of Justified. And
Yep.
HBO jumped on that bandwagon with True Detective.
Yep.
And they've done what 4 or 5 seasons, and they're all different with different lead characters, but it's the same thing. You're following a mystery from the beginning to the end, and I think that's a really cool way to do it. Yeah, the only TV detective I think that I would say I really really enjoyed that's like classic one episode one case kind of situation was probably Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Dude,
I fucking love that show.
you're you're fucking up, man. You shouldn't have said anything because you know I'm going to take him in the draft.
I couldn't go without mentioning it when we talk about TV detectives. But there's also, like, I think films do a better job of that. Obviously, they have more time and space to tell a longer story. Even going back to black and white, there are lots of detective show movies that I really like. I'm a big Humphrey Bogart fan, so I like all of his Sam Spade, Philip Marlowe things. I think all of that original noir detective stuff is really cool and fun to watch. There have been all kinds of crazy takes on film detectives and all kinds of cool approaches. And I think film, again, it's just a better place to, it's not so stereotypical when you see, who's going to solve the mystery in this particular movie, whatever it might be.
I think I may have been the one, or you and I, when we were talking about topics, came up with this one together. And I realized that I've seen a lot of these. I've just not religiously followed a lot of these shows. So I really just agreed to do this because we're going to draft characters. So
All right, well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
yeah,
There's a bunch of cool characters. In going through the draft, I think I'll probably have a couple films to recommend to you if you haven't seen them, because again, a lot, like Coen Brothers have done cool detective or take their the very Coen Brothers take on a noir detective show, for example, or the other one is Dennis Lehane is an author, and a bunch of people have made
hmm
movies out of his books. And they've done some great work just again with that particular source material. I think it's really awesome.
Any other shows you watched more recently? I think not Forgiven, Justified is probably the most recent of the detective shows that I've watched.
Yeah, no, I liked particularly the first 2 seasons of True Detective, which I
Hmm.
believe came after that. One of them had Woody,
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson.
What else?
uh,
Yep.
I thought that was the first season. I thought that was really good. There was a show that was probably mid to late 2000s that was called The Killing. That
Hmm.
was really, really good. It was based on a Danish TV show, and I remember watching that all the way through. And I think there was only one season. I don't remember exactly. It's worth looking up. So that one, it starred Joel Kinnaman, who's been in a lot of TV since then. He's been in TV, he's been in movies. He was in the Suicide Squad. He was in Suicide Squad. That one, I think, was just the one season. Or no, it must have been more than that because it says it went through from 2011 through 2014. And there was, I don't even know how to pronounce her name. There's an actress named Morel Enos, Enos. She
Hmm.
played Sarah Linden. She played Sarah Linden, and Joel Kinnaman played her partner, Stephen Holder. And they had all kinds of personal, issues in their own families and with each other. But each season was a specific murder that they had to solve, and it was very, very intense. I think it owed a lot to Silence of the Lambs and those
Oh yeah.
psychological thrillers. They weren't set up as like doing a psychological profile because a lot of TV shows did end up doing that after Silence of the Lambs, but it just brought all that kind of real intense. The villains were just really intense and scary, and it's a really dark show, but I thought it was really good.
And then the only other one I was going to mention, and I'm not showing my hand for the draft. I tried to get into, and I just wasn't able to. Is Luther? I don't know how much you. I don't know if you ever got in. You watch a lot more TV than I do, but just wasn't one that stuck.
Yeah, no, it gets great reviews. What's the name of that actor?
Yeah, he's a great actor, and he's doing a commercial right now that's on all the damn time. But
Yes. Yeah, that's the one that Idris Elba is the lead in that one.
yeah,
And it gets great, great reviews. I know. I've never seen any part of that. I think it's a BBC show. I do think it's a British TV show. It's one of those that I think it's done. I think they did 5 seasons and they're through with it. No, it's more than that. It looks like it went through from 2010 through 2019. But I also think they may be bringing it back. And I think they've
mm,
done films. Like it's supposed to be excellent. And I like him as an actor too. And for whatever reason, I've never watched that.
same. And like I said, I tried to give it a shot, and I'm not Americanized on a lot of things, but I think I am on TV shows. That's the thing about detective shows is if you think about all the franchises, like there must be 8 or 9 CSIs, you got the NCIS, you have the Law and Orders, you have well, I guess that's SVU, but all these spin-offs of the same franchise is sort of standardized and
Yeah.
to me made them a little, it only makes a difference with to me with the acting because like you said all these stories are repeated. I mean there are,
Mhm.
there's only so many ways you can imagine this, and there's been hundreds and hundreds of these shows. Finding good characters for our draft won't be hard, but I'll be curious. There's one character out there that I'm going to write the person's name down, and we'll see if either one of us draft her.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I feel like between our lack of preparation
Yes,
and
exactly.
our desire to hide our picks for the draft, we're not calling out certain shows and certain actors or characters. So,
Yes,
do you think it's time to do our screen detective draft?
I think it is. Grab your coin, my friend. Tails.
I didn't even flip it yet. It is heads.
Fuck.
Sorry, man. I wish. I'm sorry you're so bad at that.
I am.
All right. I am going to defer the first pick in our Screen Detectives draft because I don't really know if my first pick, like everybody's tied for first for me, I think, in this draft for some reason. So I think I should
Yeah.
be in pretty good shape.
All right. This one's easy for me. My favorite TV show ever. Sean Spencer from Psych. The
Oh, I didn't. You
psych
did.
the
See,
psychic detective.
you didn't bring up Psych in the discussion, and I swear it's because of that.
It
Because you
is.
didn't want me to take him away from you because you love Sean Spencer.
I do. I might even take Gus in a later round.
You know, it's I'm not sure if it's embarrassing to say this, but I've never watched an episode of that show.
Dude, seriously, get it
Never
together.
one. I and again, I think it's partially because wasn't that part of the whole characters welcome run on TNT
Um,
or whatever TBS?
could be. Yeah.
And I did watch some of those things. Like I watched the one about the CIA agent that got burned.
Oh yeah.
I watched a few of them, but I felt like Psych was one of those shows where it was just like it was all based upon those two characters and their relationship, and everything else felt like it was the same all the time. Now that's
It was. but it was funny shit.
And maybe that's what I didn't realize is that it was funny because I was like, I don't need to watch that, but I never did. So I'm basing everything on just,
Yeah,
absolutely
my
nothing.
son Eli has probably watched it through like every episode 3 or 4 times, at least
Is
three
that
times.
right?
I think he's starting a fourth time through.
So did you guys watch that together too?
We've watched together, but I don't think when it was in first run, I watched it, and I'd have to look and see when the years were.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know.
but we've watched like they've done movies and other stuff. So when we've
Yeah.
done road trips and stuff, we've watched together.
Because I can see that
It's
being also having a huge impact on who you pick.
oh yeah, 100%.
Well, I have to say that I am shocked that our number one draft choice is one of the two detectives from Psych. I, I'm just going to say that may affect our credibility going on through the rest of this. But I am going to try to right that ship by picking one of the most famous screen detectives ever, Humphrey Bogart as Sam Spade in The Maltese Falcon. He is, like, to me, the ultimate screen detective. And the fact that I didn't think you would pick him, so that's why I didn't take the first pick. But now I feel bad that he's not number one in our draft because I think Humphrey Bogart, if he found out he came in second to Sean Spencer, would come and kick my ass. My number two pick is Sherlock Holmes, played by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't really like the old black and white Sherlock Holmes movies, and I know there's been a million versions of him since then. But that series, and that's another BBC show actually, is fantastic. And in fact, when I was getting ready for this draft, I was thinking, you know what, it is time to rewatch that because he did such a great job, and it was such an interesting take on that character. I think he is an awesome screen detective.
All right. Well, you left it open, so I'm going to take Raylan Givens. That's one of my
Yeah,
other favorite movies. And it has one of the best beginnings of a series ever where he's sitting at the table with that guy in Miami, gives him a chance, and he shoots him.
yeah, that you're absolutely right. That set everything for me. That's the reason I watched all of the rest of that series because of that opening scene was amazing. He and Oliphant is just really great in that role, and that's another one that's is definitely worth rewatching. And they did
All
do a
right.
film of that, by the way. They did do a film of like a follow up to the original series, and it wasn't a film; it was another season of the show, like years later. And I thought they were going to keep it going, but I don't think they did.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I didn't know that they didn't keep it going, but I was hoping that and I didn't watch any of it, so I guess I wasn't supporting it. But that series is great from beginning to end. I was sad to see it end. All right, I am going to go with a character from one of the series that I just made fun of. It's one of the longest running character actors, I think, but I'm going with Lenny Briscoe from Law and Order, played by the great Jerry Orbach.
Yeah, I get that. He brought a lot to that character in a show that I kind of, as I said, I kind of feel like it's just boring. Like I don't like the show, but
Yeah,
he was really good. He really was. All right, so was that six?
that's five.
That's five. So Raylan was four. Lenny Briscoe is five. Jim Rockford is six. I love Jim Rockford. I love me some Rockford Files, man.
That's a good
That's
one. I like it.
yeah. And then, hmm, this is where things get interesting to me. All right, I'm going with a film, and it is Gone Baby Gone. Casey Affleck plays Patrick Kenzie in that movie, and that's the one it's based on a Dennis Lehane novel.
Yep.
He's a fucking amazing writer. I've actually read a couple of books from that series. It's Patrick Kenzie and Angie Gennaro or Gennaro, I think, they're the detective team. So she maybe should also be part of this draft pick, but I'm going with him just because there's a scene in that movie where he faces down a bunch of guys in a bar where they threaten to kick his ass, and he's just awesome. The Casey Affleck is a skinny little dorky looking dude, but he plays a tough guy from Southie in Boston so well that
Yeah.
it's just he has a couple scenes where he, like I said, he deals with some real hard asses and he holds his own. Meanwhile, he also gets the shit kicked out of him, and it's just that kind of classic Jim Rockford thing where he also gets beat up a lot. But I think he deserves to be on this draft. So Patrick Kenzie, with help from Angie Gennaro at number 7, and that leaves 8 and 9 to you.
All right. I decided not to go with my another comedy choice, but I went with someone who investigated far more things far beyond this world. Fox Mulder.
Ah, interesting. Not on my list. I like it though.
Yeah, I looked at many, many lists and he popped up on at least one of them. I'm like, I'm going with that. That fits me. And then trying to be a little bit more historical, I went with Virgil Tibbs from Heat of the Night movies or books, I should say. But Sidney Poitier played Virgil Tibbs in the 19, I think it was a 1967 movie. And one of the great lines in this quick review of it is Tibbs is used to a certain level of respect, but in Sparta, a white man slaps him for asking too many questions. And Tibbs, to the surprise of audiences in 1967, slapped him right back. Um,
That's cool.
yeah, so by the time he skips town, he's found the real suspect, and everyone learns why they call him Mr. Tibbs. So I just thought I love Sidney Poitier, and I thought this was one of his. Actually saw this one and thought it was a great performance all the way around.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie, and you've made me decide I'm gonna find it streaming somewhere and watch it because I'm also a Poitier fan, but I haven't seen anything that he did for years and years. I don't think I've seen anything with Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, and then, of course, they made a TV series out of it with our
Right.
buddy from All in the Family. And I actually never watched that. I did like him as an actor, but Poitier is the one that stole the movie for me. So
Yeah, that's a good choice. That is again not on my list. I don't think we had any crossover at all.
you got two more, I think.
I have one more.
One more, yeah.
I have one more, and it's probably a five-way tie here, but I'm going to pick one. And I'm kind of going against what I said, kind of. So I have the 10th pick, and with the 10th pick, I'm going with a character played by Andre Braugher, who passed away a few years back and was a great loss, I think, to the acting and television community. He shows up on a lot of best TV detective lists for playing Frank Pembleton on Homicide: Life on the Streets. And I did watch the first couple seasons of that. I remember having to see the DVDs or something and watching, and that was like the beginning of those procedural type shows, and I think it was better than a lot of the ones that came after it. And he's very good in that. But as I'm picking Andre Braugher for playing Captain Ray Holt on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
He's making it under the top 10 list of detectives for Brooklyn Nine-Nine and not for Homicide: Life on the Streets. Brower was just so good in that role. And it was so funny to see him play really what seemed like against type as this police captain. But he was so good on Brooklyn Nine-Nine with Andy Samberg. He had to make my list. So that's number 10.
I almost took Hamilton because I couldn't take another comedy, but he was fantastic in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
He's so good in that show.
Good
So we
choice.
missed a few though. I didn't get to pick a couple. Actually, two female detectives were on my list and they didn't make it, unfortunately. Very close to picking Veronica Mars at number 10.
Yeah,
Uh, and I also seriously considered Marge Gunderson from the
yeah.
movie Fargo, Frances McDormand's character. That's a classic, iconic role, I think.
So you didn't think about taking Jessica Fletcher?
No, is that Murder She Wrote?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, no, 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 no.
I didn't even know I didn't even know her name, but I saw her on so many lists as number
I
one.
know. Is it safe to say you've never watched a minute of that show?
It's safe to say that I've never watched
Yeah,
a
me
minute.
too. Never. I also had I had Lee Raybon. That's Ethan Hawke's character in The Lowdown.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And he probably deserves to be on that list, but again, we just ran out of slots. I also had Benoit Blanc. That's Daniel Craig's character from the Knives Out movies. I think he's
Oh yeah.
really, really good.
Yep.
But I'm still pretty comfortable with my choices. Still not sure about that whole number one pick thing, but you know what? I could have
Yeah,
taken a number one. I
you
won the
could have.
toss. I
I
messed that up.
I'm proud. I'm gonna call Sean Spencer's whoever the actor is and tell him he's number one in the 3SI detectives draft. And I'm still in the process of creating the page, but Tom and I are going to post our drafts from all the previous episodes on our website, thirdsonginpodcast.com. Ideally, before you listen to this episode, it'll have been created.
Yeah, I will also post it on Facebook, and depending on the number of characters that we have here, I don't mean characters as in characters someone plays, but actual letters. I'll
Yeah,
also try to put it up on Blue Sky. I was able to get the last draft up on Blue Sky and Facebook. So look
nice.
at our social media for that stuff.
All right. And that brings us to Loft of Wisdom, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, sir.
You better open up your eyes, babe, because fools do get wise.
We do Loft of Wisdom to highlight our favorite quotes of the moment, whether they be from TV, movies, books, or some dude we heard on the street. I think I think we both have detective quotes, though, in keeping with the theme. What is your quote for the Loft of Wisdom this week?
We do. And there's entire pages, websites dedicated to quotes from True Detective. And there's any number I could have used. This one is from the character Rust Cole, who was played by Matthew McConaughey. And it stuck with me. It's the line, there's no such thing as forgiveness. People just have short memories. There's probably better lines from the show. There's one, and I think it was who was the actor that played it? The guy asked him if he thinks he might be a bad guy, and he said, "The world needs bad guys that keep other bad guys from coming in the door," or something like that. It's just a
Hmm.
great. There's so many great dark lines from that. So I went with one from one of my favorite characters on there. And I said, there's so many. I was trying to not have the most obvious. I need to go back and watch that show a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's from the first season, right? Because
Yep.
that was with Woody Harrelson, and man, was that a great season of
Yep.
kind of scary detective noir type stuff. I think that's a great quote. I didn't remember that quote at all. I don't remember when he said it, but I think that's a good one for the law. Mine
You
is
did.
equally important, and I wasn't able to draft Marge Gunderson, but I am quoting her from Fargo. One of the funniest lines in the whole movie, where she's in the office at the car dealership, and William H. Macy leaves saying he's going to get something and then takes off running. And she sees him. And she goes, "Oh, for Pete's sake, he's fleeing the interview. He's fleeing the interview."
I,
And
you had that as like you had three or four on the script before, and I kept looking at him. That was the last one, so I didn't think you were going to pick it. So when I just looked and it's the first one, I couldn't help it. That was a great rendition of it. Nice work.
yeah, thanks. It shows you how many times I've watched that goddamn movie. But yeah, the other my other quotes were basically Humphrey Bogart quotes from either Sam Spade or Philip Marlowe, and I figured he got the draft choice, so I had to go with Marge for the Loft of Wisdom.
Yeah, I went back and watched a bunch of clips from Fargo, the
Oh,
one where she's in her, because I wanted to make sure I got your quote right from
oh
a
yeah,
couple weeks ago when we did the Coen Brothers, and I listened to that quote again. It's such a funny. She has such a great voice in that movie.
she's awesome. Yeah, that's right. I have two Coen Brothers quotes on the Loft of Wisdom in the last few weeks.
I know, nice work.
Our next segment is staff picks.
Randall, just around the corner from you.
Staff picks is Tom and I's something.
It is something. I've been meaning to say that it's something.
You know, it's something. Fuck you. Um, Staff picks is Tom and I's attempt to recreate going into a movie store, record store, video store, things that people don't even know anymore. And if we didn't quite know what to choose, usually up on the wall, there'd be staff picks where the staff would recommend something to us, usually something new. So this is Tom and I recommending new stuff, new somethings.
My staff pick, ironically, is a British television show. We were just
Yeah,
talking
I just
about
made
how
fun of
you
them. Yeah.
you don't watch British TV.
Yeah.
There's a TV show, and this is one of those new to me type picks. It's actually been out for a while. I think my daughter discovered it when it first came out in 2017. My son Tommy recommended it to me just a couple weeks ago. They only put out 2 seasons of the show, The End of the Fucking World. By the way, it's spelled F asterisk 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 King, I think. When Tommy recommended it to me, he recommended it as a British Wayne. And I've talked about the TV show Wayne, which was set in, I think, outside of Boston, if I'm not mistaken, and also only lasted 2 seasons. I think Wayne was canceled, but The End of the Fucking World was created to only be a 2 season show. And that's actually one of the things I like about British TV is they don't like drag things out. If it's time to end, then it ends. It's about these two teenagers. It starts out with a narration from the boy, who I think is 17 when the show starts, who basically says he thinks he might be a psychopath. The girl has all kinds of emotional issues and father issues and stuff like that. They meet each other in high school. They end up running away from home, and the rest of both seasons is them just well, the rest of the first season is them just trying to figure out who they are and trying to, at one point, find her dad. And it is funny, but really, really dark. It's just acted so well by these two actors who I have never heard of in my life. The lead, Alyssa, is played by somebody named Jessica Barden. James is played by Alex Lawther. I don't think there's a single actor in the whole show that I recognize from anything previously. And I would tell you to run immediately out to and subscribe to Netflix if you don't, but watch both seasons of The End of the Fucking World. It is outstanding. It is one of my favorite shows in the last 10 years that I've watched. It may not overtake Wayne as my favorite of this style of show, but it is way the hell up there. And again, it ran from 2017 for 2 seasons, so it's not exactly brand new. Many of our listeners may have heard of it anyway, but I would say go watch it.
All right. I went with a book, which I know is shocking to you. And I think I mentioned this book, but not as a staff pick. The book is called Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang. So this is a book that Tom would never read because it's horror. But it's a nice combination of social commentary, horror, and some cool cultural spiritualism. So opening scene, which I'm not giving away, and I think I already said this in a previous episode, but I didn't recommend it as a staff pick. I'm about 75% through the book. I'm starting to get a feel for how it's going to end. But it's this young Asian woman, Cora Zhang, whose sister in the opening scene is pushed in front of a train, and the person who pushed her, all she knows is a white person because they have masks on because it's during COVID, yells "Bat Eater," and her sister's killed. And then, interestingly enough, she goes on to a career in cleaning up murder scenes, and it's fairly gruesome with some of the stuff they talk about. But she is so deadened by everything that's happened that stuff means nothing to her. Turns out there's a serial killer going around killing Asian girls, and that's most of the murder scenes that she's cleaning up. She is just petrified. I usually have a hard time with books like this. Like, I get really frustrated in movies where the same character fucks up over and over again, and you're just like, just stop. This girl has so little confidence in everything about herself, and she's pretty jacked up in many ways psychologically. But I've stuck through it, and I think we're getting near the end. I'll give an update in the next post facto because I'm into it to the point where I'm reading, 30, 40, 50 pages a night. So I should be done with it by the next episode.
Oh.
But it's really, really well written. It says horror, but there's nothing in it. It's just a little bit of gore. It does have ghosts, and she's currently haunted they call them hungry ghosts by the ghost of her sister, and her sister's trying to get her to do something, and that's about where I'm at right now. So,
Hmm.
so
All right, cool.
it's a cool book. Yeah, it's won all kinds of awards. It's won science fiction and horror awards. I think it might be her first book, but I think we have a star in the making, hopefully, with this author. So I never said the author's name. It's Kylie Lee Baker.
And our stat picks will be on our website, thirdsonginpodcast.com.
And if you end up reading or listening to any of our new staff picks, go ahead and email us at thirdsongin@gmail.com.
Next up, playlist picks. We're picking 2 more songs for the Third Song In Season 10 playlist.
Yep, Tom and I do a playlist for each season. We each contribute 2 songs. So for every season, we have at least 20. Sometimes we'll add 1 or 2 there from our guests. But today, we're trying to find songs that may or may not have to do with detectives. So how about I go first? Because you got the most awesome song that anyone could have got. And I don't remember if it was the last episode. I'll have to go back, but you mentioned this band, so I really had
Yes.
no choice but to include them.
Yeah, I mentioned them in the context of hating them. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, kiss my ass.
So the Handsome family did the theme song for True Detective, and that song is Far From Any Road. What I do like about it is that they both sing, which gives a little variety because I should know their names, but I don't. The male lead singer's voice can certainly wear on you because it's very unique and very, I'll go with droney, I guess, at times. But I do like this song. It fits the theme of the show. It's not Megadeth, sorry, Joe, but it is a pretty decent theme song for a really great TV show.
And I'm just going to quote what I wrote on our outline for playlist picks for this week. So easy. I picked Watching the Detectives by Elvis Costello from My Aim is True in 1977. I am an Elvis Costello fan. We actually talked about him with one of the guests not so long ago. But Watching the Detectives is a great song, and I hadn't listened to it in ages. And it just came to me when I was thinking about what we were going to do for this episode. So I've listened to it since then, and it's still a fucking great song.
Check out our playlists and all the streaming services, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, and Apple Music. If there's an option to rate them or give us a thumbs up, we ask you to do that. Otherwise, please share. We're humble guys, but we think we put out some pretty badass playlists, and I think folks will appreciate listening to them.
Yep. Third Song In is recorded in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Joliet, Illinois. As Chris said, you can email us at thirdsongin@gmail.com.
Check out our website, thirdsonginpodcast.com. You'll get to hopefully the drafts. You can actually listen to the episode from the homepage, and you can also go and read our blogs. Tom and I put out a blog each week, take turns, right there on our website, and you can also get them through Substack. If you subscribe to our blogs on Substack under Third Song In, you can have them emailed directly to your inbox on Friday morning. What better way to read a great blog by Tom?
Yeah. Yeah. What better way? Please rate and review us wherever you listen to our podcast. We are all over the place, and we are now on Pandora and Stitcher, as well as all of the other streamers. Please give us all your crazy stars, man.
You're switching things up, man. I can't handle that. Give us your fucking stars. Go back to that.
All right. Well, you should give us your fucking stars. Chris says.
Yeah.
We also have a Facebook page. We have a Blue Sky account and Instagram account. We try to post podcast related stuff there, but we also post links and dates and information about our former guests and our future guests. So please follow us on all of the social media.
And Tom and I think I'm speaking for him, just want to give a big thanks to our listeners. You're a small but very loyal crowd, and we appreciate you. We do this for us. We'll be honest about it.
Let's face it.
But as we've continued to do it, we're doing it for you. Like I said, we mention individual listeners. We hear from individual listeners, and we really, really are grateful for all the support you've given us to allow us to get to 100 episodes. And as a reminder, stay tuned after this to hear some messages from you all.
And tune in next week for our special guest, artist and musician Caleb King. You've been listening to Third Song In with Chris Derrickson and Tom Polachek. Thank you for listening. With every episode, we get closer to 100. As a result, we ask some of our former guests and friends of the show to record a message to us to tell us what they thought about this milestone. Here are a few.
Hi, I'm Tom's father, 81 years old, and I've listened to all the podcasts and read all the blogs. Kind of gives you an idea of what my life is like. But seriously, congratulations on 100, guys. Keep them coming. I'm still here.
Hey, Tom and Chris, Rob King here. Congratulations on your 100th podcast. What a tremendous accomplishment. Two great guys. Third Song In. Love the podcast, by the way. The Third Song In is Level Land by James McMurtry. Check it out. Thanks for having me on, guys, and congratulations.
I think the thing that has struck me so much about Third Song In is that for most of my adult life, my music recommendations have come from an algorithm. And while some of the algorithms are really good, looking at like Spotify and stuff like that, it's really nice to get recommendations about music that I would not otherwise really even think about. Tom and Chris also just have a wonderful energy. I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm doing the work that I do from home, and I can't say enough how fun and relaxing and engaging this podcast has been, even beyond the music recommendations. I'm really happy that they are doing it, and congratulations on 100 episodes.